want you to meet Clara, a gifted writer. Her story outlines are masterpieces of plot and character. Every idea is carefully structured, broken down into hundreds of detailed scene cards. Her desk is a city of sticky notes, her writing software a perfectly organized map of a world she has yet to write. She gets a satisfying rush from the sheer potential of a story waiting to be told. But there's a fatal flaw in her creative process. The first chapter was due last week, and the week before that. Not a single word has been written. Not one sentence has been formed. Clara is a writer who never actually writes. She's stuck in the paralyzing abyss between the person she has plans to be and the person who actually does the thing. If Clara's story feels even a little familiar, I want you to know you're not alone, and you are in exactly the right place. This is a real thing, a common struggle known as the intention-action gap. It's that frustrating empty space between what we passionately decide we want and what we actually get done. It's the home of dusty gym memberships, half-written novels, and brilliant business ideas that never, ever leave the whiteboard. This gap is where our dreams go to disappear. We're great at setting goals, but we often fall apart when it comes to the follow-through. And this disconnect, the space between what we intend and what we do, is one of the biggest barriers to our growth, our success, and even our own happiness. We trick ourselves into believing that all the intricate planning is the work, but it's not. It's the prelude to the work. So in our time together today, we're not just going to talk about this gap. I want to show you how to build a bridge across it. We're going to unpack the psychological armor that keeps us trapped in the planning phase and explore a simple, powerful method to finally start acting on our intentions. We'll look at the hidden forces that keep us stuck, and I'll give you 3 concrete rules to break free. By the end of this, you'll have a toolkit to stop being a master planner and start being a master doer. Welcome to Ways of Change, where we talk about practical strategies to turn your plans into realities. So why is it so easy, so addictive to plan, but so incredibly hard to start? To understand this, we have to look at what's happening in our own minds. The first thing to recognize is that the planning trap is a beautiful cage, and we're the ones who build it. The first part of the trap is what I call the illusion of progress. Your brain, and its endless quest to feel good and get rewarded, can be easily tricked. When you make a detailed plan or color-coded spreadsheet or organize goals in neat little folders, your brain releases a small bit of dopamine. That's the same chemical you get from actually achieving something. So the act of planning feels like an accomplishment. It gives you a sense of control and forward motion, all without ever having to face the messy, unpredictable reality of doing the work. It's counterfeit productivity. You're busy, but you're actually not moving forward. You're just spinning your wheels, making a lot of noise, but the car never leaves the driveway. This feeling is a powerful sedative. It convinces you you're making progress, when really, you're just getting better at preparing for a race you never run. The second, and maybe the more powerful force at play here, is the fear factor. Planning is safe. It's a controlled little world where everything goes exactly according to script. Action, on the other hand, is risky. The second you take action, you open yourself up to judgment, to criticism, and to the big one, failure. The fear of failure is the most common mental barrier that keeps us from doing anything. That little voice in your head whispers, what if it's not good enough? Or what if you mess up and everyone sees? This fear loves to disguise itself as a much more acceptable trait, perfectionism. We tell ourselves, I can't start yet. I need to do more research. Or the plan just isn't perfect yet. But perfectionism isn't about having high standards. It's a shield. It's a 20-ton shield we use to protect ourselves. It's a defense mechanism driven by the fear of being seen as flawed or incompetent. You spend weeks planning for the perfect project lunch because if you never lunch, you can never fail. You get to live with the fantasy of a perfect outcome, which is so much more comfortable than the reality of an imperfect but finished product. This chase for flawlessness sets an impossible high bar, so we become terrified to act unless we're certain of a perfect result, which, of course, is completely impossible. Finally, there's a basic cognitive bias that works against our best intentions. It's called the present bias. Our brains are wired to prioritize immediate rewards over long-term benefits. This is an evolutionary holdover. For our ancestors, finding berries to eat right now was way more important than planning for a farm that might give us a harvest in 3 months. Your brain hasn't really changed that much. So when you face a choice between doing a hard, challenging task that will pay off weeks from now, like working on that business plan, or doing something easy that gives you an immediate tiny reward, like checking your email or scrolling through social media, your brain screams at you to choose the immediate reward. Procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's a battle against your brain's own wiring. The abstract future reward of reaching your goal just can't compete with the concrete, immediate pleasure you get from a distraction. You know you should work on that report, but your brain feels like it wants to watch another video. And most of the time, that feeling wins. So you're not lazy, you're not broken. You're caught in a psychological loop. The fake progress from planning gives you a dopamine hit. The fear of failure keeps you in the safe zone of preparation, and your brain's natural bias for instant gratification makes it so hard to choose the hard path. And understanding this loop is the first step in breaking it. So how do we get out of this beautiful cage? How do we stop being theorists of our own lives and become active participants? It really comes down to rewiring your approach. I'm going to give you 3 simple, actionable rules that will help you close the gap between planning and action for good. These aren't complicated theories. They're practical commands you can start using today. The first rule is designed to conquer that initial monumental feeling of being overwhelmed. It's called the 10-minute takeoff rule. The biggest barrier to starting is usually the sheer size of the task in our minds. We don't just write a book. We see a mountain of 300 blank pages. We don't just start a business. We see 1,000 complex, terrifying steps. The 10-minute takeoff rule shatters this barrier. The rule is this: you don't have to finish the task. You don't even have to do a big chunk of it. You just have to work on it with focused intention for 10 minutes. That's it. Set a timer for 10 minutes and just begin. Anyone could do anything for 10 minutes. Want to write that book? Just write whatever comes to mind for 10 minutes. Need to clean that garage? Just organize one corner for 10 minutes. Been putting off that report? Just open up the document and write 2 paragraphs for 10 minutes. Here's why this works. First, it lowers the bar so much that your brain can't find a good excuse to say no. It's so small. It's too small to feel scary. Second, it taps into a powerful psychological principle called the Zeigarnik effect, which says that we remember uncompleted tasks much better than completed ones. Starting a task, even for 10 minutes, opens a mental loop that your brain will start nagging you to close. More often than not, you'll find that once that timer goes off at 10 minutes, you're already in the flow and you want to keep going. Getting started is the hardest part. The 10-minute takeoff rule is your launch sequence. It's not about the progress in those 10 minutes. It's about breaking the seal of inaction. Hey y'all, if this idea of taking small, manageable steps is already hitting home for you and you're tired of being stuck in the planning phase, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about practical strategies to turn your plans into reality, and I'd love for you to be a part of this community of doers. Now, the second rule. This one is a direct assault on the perfectionism that keeps so many of us paralyzed. It's a mantra I need for you to adopt. You've probably heard it before. Done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Perfectionism is the enemy of progress. It's the belief that if you can't do something flawlessly, you shouldn't do it at all. This mindset will keep you in the planning phase forever because perfect does not exist. The done is better than perfect mandate is your permission slip to be human. It's the conscious choice to prioritize completion over flawlessness. Let me tell you a personal story for a minute. For years, I wanted to start this very same YouTube channel. I spent months planning. I had spreadsheets of video ideas, scripts I wrote and rewrote a dozen times, and I did endless research on the perfect camera, the perfect lighting, the perfect editing software. But I never recorded a thing. I was terrified it wouldn't be good enough. And then one day, a mentor told me something that changed my YouTube journey. He said, your first 100 videos are going to be terrible anyway, so you might as well get them over with. It was so liberating. It gave me permission to be a beginner. It shifted my goal from create a perfect video to just finish and upload a video. And that's exactly what I did. Was it perfect? Oh, heck no, not even close. But it was done. And because it was done, I could learn from it. I could see what worked and what didn't. I could make the next one a little bit better. And then the next one. You can't improve something that doesn't exist. A messy first draft can be edited. A wobbly prototype can be refined. A good enough launch can be iterated on. But a perfect plan sitting in a notebook, that's worthless. So embrace the mess. Give yourself the freedom to produce B- work. You'll find that not only do you get far more done, but your work will improve so much faster through real-world feedback than it ever would through endless theoretical planning. And that brings us to our third and final rule. This one is for anyone who is great at making promises to themselves, but not so great at keeping them. The accountability anchor. Left to our own devices, we are masters of self-negotiation. We'll set a goal on Monday, and by Wednesday, I'm guilty of this, and by Wednesday, we've come up with a dozen reasons why it's okay to start next week instead. We are far more likely to let ourselves down than we are to let other people down. The accountability anchor uses this human wiring to our advantage. The rule is this: to make your intentions public in some way and create an external expectation that you will follow through. This doesn't have to be some grand public declaration. It could be as simple as telling a trusted friend, hey, I'm going to finish that first draft of my business proposal by Friday. Can I send it to you then? Just by setting that one expectation with someone else, you've fundamentally changed the dynamic. The goal is no longer a private, easily broken deal with yourself. It's a social contract. You've created an anchor outside of your own head that will hold you to your word. There are so many ways to create an accountability anchor. You could find an accountability partner who has similar goals and schedule a weekly 15-minute check-in. You could join a mastermind group or a community focused on what you've been trying to do. Or you could use a coaching service or even technology. There are apps where you can pledge money towards a goal, and if you don't show proof that you did it, you lose your money. Now that's a serious motivator. Even just posting your goal on social media can work. My goal this month is to run 30 miles. Not me personally, maybe you. Now you have a crowd of people, however small, who are watching. The key is to create a consequence for inaction that is more uncomfortable than the discomfort of just doing the work. When you know someone is waiting to see your progress, it becomes much harder to say, hey, I'll do it tomorrow. Your desire to be seen as reliable becomes a powerful force pushing you forward. So to recap the 3 rules, the 10-minute takeoff rule. Lower the bar to entry and just start for 10 minutes. The done is better than perfect mandate. Give yourself permission to be imperfect and just get it done. The accountability anchor. Make your goal public. To create external pressure, you're less likely to break. These 3 rules, when you use them together, form a powerful system for breaking out of that planning quicksand and generate real, tangible momentum. Now, these 3 rules are the engine of your new action-oriented life. But to make this change stick, you have to build a system around them. This isn't about one single heroic effort. It's about creating an environment and a mindset where your action becomes your default. Here are a few final strategies to turn these rules into lifelong habits. First, engineer your environment for action. Your willpower is a finite resource. Don't waste it fighting a losing battle against your surroundings. Instead, make your desired actions easier to do and your undesired actions harder. This is all about reducing friction for good habits and adding friction for bad ones. If your goal is to practice the guitar for 10 minutes every day, don't keep it in the case in the back of the closet. Put it on a stand in the middle of your living room. Make it so you have to trip over that sucker not to practice. On the flip side, if you get distracted by your phone often, don't leave it on your desk. When it comes time to work, put it in another room. The extra effort to go and get it will often be just enough to keep you on task. You're building a clear, smooth runway for your 10-minute takeoff. Second, you have to learn to practice active self-compassion. This might sound soft, but it's a brutally effective strategy. What happens when you procrastinate or fail to act on a plan? For most of us, our inner critic goes on a rampage. You're so lazy. You have no discipline or willpower. You failed again. This negative self-talk feels like it should be motivating, like a drill sergeant whipping us into shape. But research shows it does the exact opposite. Shame and guilt create stress, which strains your willpower and makes you more likely to seek comfort in, you guessed it, more procrastination. It's a vicious cycle. Self-compassion breaks this cycle. It isn't about making excuses. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness you'd give a friend who's struggling. It's recognizing that you're human, that slipping up is normal, and that one misstep does not define you as a failure. When you miss one day, instead of beating yourself up, you say, okay, that happened. That's not what I wanted, but it's done. What can I learn? And what's one small step I can take right now to get back on track? Self-compassion helps you rebound from setbacks faster, conserving the energy you need to take action again, instead of wasting it on pointless self-criticisms. Third, let's talk about embracing faith over fear. For many of us, the obsessive need to plan every detail stems from a deep-seated fear of the unknown. We want a guarantee. We want to know the outcome before we even begin. This isn't just a psychological quirk, it's a spiritual one. It's a lack of faith. Faith in the process, faith in our own ability to handle challenges, and for some, faith in a higher plan. There's a piece of scripture from the book of Ecclesiastes that I think speaks perfectly to this modern dilemma. Ecclesiastes 11:4 says, "Whoever watches the wind will not plant. Whoever looks at the clouds will not reap." Think about that. Watching the wind is our endless research. Looking at the clouds is our obsession with waiting for the perfect conditions that will never arrive. It's a poetic description of analysis paralysis. This scripture is a timeless call to action. It teaches us that if we wait for certainty, we'll wait forever, and we'll accomplish nothing. The farmer who does that will never plant his seeds and will therefore never have a harvest. Action requires a leap of faith. It requires us to plant our seeds even when the wind is blowing and the clouds are gathering, trusting that we have the strength and resilience to see it through. Finally, You need to celebrate the smallest wins. Remember how planning gives you that cheap dopamine hit? You can rewire that reward system to work for you, not against you. When you complete a 10-minute takeoff, take a moment to actually acknowledge it. Don't just rush to the next thing. Say, I did it. I took action. Make a check mark on a calendar, put a marble in a jar, or give yourself a mental pat on the back. This isn't about throwing a party for writing one paragraph. It's about consciously linking the act of doing with a positive feeling. Each tiny celebration is a signal to your brain, hey, see? This action thing feels good. Let's do it again. You're building a new neural pathway, reinforcing the habit of execution. Over time, your brain will start to crave the reward that comes from taking action, not just from planning it. You will begin to see yourself not as someone who's good at making lists, but someone who gets things done. That identity shift is the goal. So we started this journey with Clara, the master planner, trapped in that beautiful cage of her own making, a cage built from the illusion of progress, the fear of failure, and a brain that preferred the comfort of now over the promise of later. We've all been Clara at some point, but you don't have to stay there. The gap between intention and action doesn't have to be a chasm where your dreams go to die. It can be a simple step, a single decision to act. The solution isn't a more complicated plan. It's not about finding more motivation or waiting for the perfect moment. The solution is to make the act of starting ridiculously small with a 10-minute takeoff rule. It's to give yourself permission to be imperfect with the done is better than perfect mandate. And it's to borrow strength from others using an accountability anchor. Stop planning perfectly. Start finishing powerfully. Your plans are just a map. They are worthless until you take the first step and begin the journey. So I'll end with a challenging question for you today. What's the one tiny 10-minute action you will take today? Not tomorrow, today, to close the gap on a goal you've been putting off. Leave your answer in the comments below. Declaring it is your first act of accountability. Hey y'all, if this video was helpful to you in any way, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel reach more people who might be stuck in the same place. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Ways of Change for more practical guides on building a life of action. And remember, you're never too late and your peace is never too far. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.